How's it going, everybody? My name is Jack. I'm a commercial pilot and a flight instructor, and in today's video, we're going to get into some of my top tips for how to use Foreflight for your check ride and to just give you a little bit more of an organization into how you should go into it. So let's go. I'm Jack, a commercial pilot and CFI. Flying has always been a passion of mine, and I love being able to share that experience as a pilot and instructor for those who are curious about soaring through the sky. I hope you enjoy today's video, that you fasten your seatbelt, and that you enjoy the ride. So I had a student recently pass his private pilot check ride, and he had a lot of questions for Foreflight, specifically what he should be doing to actually organize his binder and organize his stuff in a way that A, would make sense for him to just look at when the DP asks him questions, and then B, if he didn't know where to look, he could at least know kind of where everything would be organized and where to go. And so that's kind of what I'm doing today, is I'm just kind of giving you my tips on how I would help a student pilot out with organizing Foreflight in a way that makes sense to them. But on top of that, it's going to actually help them cover all of the topics you would see on the ACS, as now it's been updated to where the digital part of your iPad is now a test question. So today is just going to be kind of my little tips and tricks on how to navigate that. And the biggest thing that I'm going to really emphasize around is not just basics, right? There's a lot of videos on how to use Foreflight, like what each feature does and what everything is supposed to do. That's not this video. Foreflight has a 90 video playlist that you can go ahead and watch for yourself on how to use Foreflight on a basic level. I'll link that down below if you want to watch those for any tips. But today, this is going to be my way of helping you see how you can organize Foreflight better to understand what you need versus what's just kind of out there on the app. So with that being said, let's go right into tip number 1. And this is probably the biggest tip that I will tell everyone, is you have to create a binder, right? Everyone I've seen does Checkride binders for private pilots. There's a lot of different ways you can go about making that, but for me specifically, a lot of my student pilots have Foreflight. So what I do is I bring in that element of making it all digital and streamlined to where everything is just in one place, and it's not like you're flipping through pages. You just click on it and it's right there. And so that's exactly what we're going to get into right now. Okay, so in here already, I would have my iPad being used for this video, but my connector does not want to work. It doesn't want to update for some reason, so I'm using the desktop one to show you, and it's just as good. It just takes a little longer to get into things because you can't touch screen it. But with documents, right, you see here at the bottom, you can have like your stuff with imported, and then on top of that, I'll move my webcam over. You can see that we have drives from here. So we have the FAA stuff, all these things in here that are nice. Foreflight's got some things as well. We'll talk about those later. And then Canada also has some stuff too, which is kind of cool. But what I do with my students is all those Checkride binders out there, people make physical ones. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's awesome. But most of my students just use iPads and they use Foreflight, for example. So what I always tell them is, hey, go into documents and make a binder. That's what I always tell them, because what you can do with this is a bunch of different things that will keep yourself organized. What I always tell people is, if you ever stumble on a question where you're saying, I don't know, or you're saying, I know where I can look it up, but you don't know where to go, what I tell my students is create a binder, and it's going to look something like this, where I have a bunch of different ones since my flight school days, but I made this one for private that I still share with my students all the time. If you're at a 141 school, I highly recommend you to get the syllabus. So this is the syllabus that I used in my school, and that was what I had for that. Next up is have resources that are specific to your airplane. For example, my airplane was the 172, and in this case the 150 in my other one that I had. So I had both supplements that my flight school provided, and as well as the POH in there, as you can see in this one. But if you didn't have it all organized in one spot as far as questions and comments go from the FAA, this is kind of where my next point comes into play with creating the binders. Use the downloadable resources. That is what makes Foreflight so unique, right? You can see in here, I have the PHAC and the Airplane Flying Handbook. If you want to find all of the free resources that instead of paying for like 20 bucks or 30 bucks on Amazon for this 500-page document, go onto the FAA tab here, go to handbooks, and in here you have everything from all the ACSs down to the Airplane Flying Handbook. And if I click it, you can actually see it's the PDF version of the Airplane Flying Handbook. Very cool. It's not the most up-to-date one, but this is the most up-to-date digital version that the FAA would release. And they update this every single time a new one comes out, which is really cool. So like I said, use the downloadable resources. And then what you can do with these, and I'll just do this as an example. We'll do the aerodynamics for Navy aviators one, right? You can click this, and in here, on the desktop one, it says this folder, right? You can add it to any one of your binders that you want. In the digital one, all you have to do is click on it, drag it, and you can go up and you can do that, and I'll include a recording on how that works. But that's the nice thing about Foreflight, is you have a bunch of different resources. My third point with creating binders is, on top of all the digital stuff that the FAA gives you, you can upload your own content. So for example, imported. I have a bunch of different things in here that I've imported, and it's from a whole bunch of different stuff that I did as a flight school, with my job previously, with me being in flight training, and then with my previous job in aerial surveillance. I had uploaded plans into here with a bunch of different things. So you can literally take things as far as like NOTAMs go, from like Oshkosh, for example. I flew in there in 2023. Still have this in there for some reason, but you can upload that in there, and then same thing. You can click on it, go to the folders, and boom, add it in there. It makes everything so much easier because you don't have to worry about taking 5 to 10 minutes to scroll through it. It's already there when you click on your said binder, because all you have to do from there is, if you know which book it's in, oh yeah, let me just click the p-hack. When you actually go ahead and click on something, you can actually bookmark tabs on the iPad version, and I'll include that one as well, where you can simply tap a page, select bookmark, name the bookmark, and then boom, it's all in there for you when you click the search icon. So then you can just find whatever page you're looking for with whatever you label it as, which is really cool. All right, so now that we've gone and we've done the hard work of knowing where we can go with binders and then having to add in all the documents, now we get into the hard part. And the fourth point that I'm going to make is how you utilize this binder. So a lot of times people will go into their Checkrides, they'll have everything organized and make it all nice and neat, but then the DPE will give them the specific question of, all right, where can I find this, or where can I look? And then the examiner is going to then make them go ahead and look for it. Well, he's not necessarily looking for you to say, oh yeah, it's here, it's in this thing. He's more or less asking that question because the ACS now says that if you bring an iPad to your Checkride, you have to demonstrate proficiency in using it. And so that's where, when you have all these notes organized, you don't want to just say, great, it's here, I'm done. You know, you actually want to practice going in and actually utilizing these resources in your own time and doing this. Because what's going to happen is, at some point, you're going to then go, for example, to the map section and go and look at all these other things. Like I had my route from Albuquerque last time. You're going to probably get asked about an avlog. So you're going to have to go in and do this, and then actually have to go back in documents and then look at your binder. That's the important part, is knowing how to flip between both and actually being able to use them the way that you'd want to. And then on top of that, let's say you have to go look at imagery, for example, the weather. And they could just ask you simple questions about what's going on in the map. Well, the nice thing about stuff like that is Foreflight also has those in here. For example, down here in Foreflight, you can look and you can see, if it's not going to be here, it's going to be down here with legends, right? They are going to have NOAA imagery legends. This is a lifesaver, because when you go to the map or when you go to imagery, you can then add these legends into your private pilot binder, and then you can just straight up look and see, oh yeah, this is this going here. Because for whatever reason why you don't know where to look or what it is or what you're looking at, you're going to want to find the key and the answer to do that. So having it in your binder and being able to flip through all these different tabs that Foreflight provides you is what the DPE is going to be looking for. He doesn't care if you know it. What he will care about is if you know how to use your iPad. Because the other thing you're going to be tested on in Foreflight is in the airplane, right? When you're flying, when you're using your map and you're using everything you can to know where you are and what's going on, he's expecting you to feel proficient enough to where you don't have to stare at it for like 10 seconds. You can look up, do your thing, look down for a few seconds, and then go back to flying the airplane. And that's really the key, is getting yourself confident in knowing how to make it all work before you go out and take your check ride. because that 5th point that I just made is by far the greatest point I could ever make, because points 1 through 4 won't matter if point 5 isn't done, because the DPE has every responsibility to pass or fail you on anything he sees you're qualified on. And if you're not qualified to go fly an airplane based on you being able to say, hey, I'm using my iPad as my charts, he's going to say, great, let's actually use it. Demonstrate and prove to me that you know what you're doing with this. And keep in mind, every DPE is going to be different. No 2 DPEs are the same. So what I'm trying to point out is don't go to your Checkride expecting, oh yeah, Foreflight's going to save my butt. No. Foreflight is the tool that will help you get there. But at the end of the day, it's not all this stuff that's going to give you that picture. It's what's in here that's going to help you find the picture. And so with my points in talking about why it's important to organize everything, is it comes down to the basic principle of how you set yourself up for success is going to be then put to the test with where you fall back on. Right? I tell my student pilots all the time going into a private pilot check ride that whatever you learn first, that's what you're going to go back on. And if you forget something, what you're going to go back to first is more than likely what you first learned or what you first reviewed. So what I always tell people with Foreflight is if you're going to fall back onto something in Foreflight, don't fall back to saying, I don't know, let me scroll through this, let me do this. No, you're going to fall back on the binder, right? You're going to fall back on where you organize everything, where you put all of your notes and all of your stuff in there. So then all you have to do is look at whatever document you think is in your brain, but you can't for some reason pull it out of your mouth and say, oh, it's here. But you recognize what that is because you've taken the time before to go back through and look through it and say, oh, I know now, it's in here. And then you can click on the document, you can click search with the bookmark, and then figure out what you wrote down for that specific thing you're looking for, and it's right in front of you. That's the whole point I'm trying to make with this, is Foreflight is a great tool, but if you don't know how to use it, you're going to be really stuck and hung up on your Checkride. This isn't a video that's saying, hey, this is how you use this is how you use that. I'm not here to teach you how to use Foreflight. What I am here to teach you is how you can help yourself organize things better to where it's not about scatterbraining everything and just trying to figure out where to go next. More or less, hey, just know that if you organize yourself in a way like this, it's all in one spot right in front of you, and all you have to do is click it. So that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. A little quick one today, but this is just something that I feel like I should have done a long time ago, and now we're here. I like teaching on topics like these. These are very fun for me to do, and I love helping people understand how these things work, and so I'm going to start releasing a little more videos on these specifically and how I organize my thoughts and how I can help people set up for success. So if you like these videos, I hope you enjoyed. You go down and like this video, subscribe. I'll be releasing more at some point. And if you did enjoy and want to see a little more content that I'll be making, you can go down below and check out my website. I've got a little bio about me as well as just some of my fun adventures that I've done in the past that are uploaded onto there. And then finally, if you want to see more content that I do, I'm going to be posting some quick reels about this video. You can go down below and check out my Instagram. I post every now and then whenever I have time, but that's where you'll see a little more of content that I produce. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see the next one. See ya!